And I also had to take into consideration how I would do both when my whole goal was to spend more time with my kids. And here I am starting a whole nother business, but planning on keeping this 9 to 5 until I get to my financial goal with the business, right? Hey y'all, hey, it's khameleonkay, and on this channel I help single moms own their life, their time, and their finances through entrepreneurship and bossing up in life overall. So if that sounds like your kind of vibe, don't forget to subscribe, and welcome to the fam, chameleon. Today I am talking about how I chose what business to start as a single mom. You may know you want to start a business or a side hustle, but you aren't really sure what business or side hustle to start that would be catered to your specific needs, or what would fit your lifestyle, or even where you are right now in life. And so today I'm going to get into how I chose what business to start, which was the first one that I decided to start, and how I came to that conclusion being a single mom. Now, the first thing that I took into consideration was the fact that I had children and that I was a single mom and I didn't have help. So considering all of those things, the first thing and the most important thing that I took into consideration were my children. And being a single mother and not having help, I had to think about, I had to think about my time. So if I'm going to do something and it's for them, and so that I can have more time with them, or so that I could be able to be there for them at a drop of a dime if I wanted to, without having to answer to somebody. That was like one of my biggest goals. But even bigger than that was I wanted to not miss milestones. At the time, my daughter was 4 months old, my son was 3 years old, and they were a big part of why I wanted to become a full-time entrepreneur in the first place. So of course they were like first and foremost my considerations when deciding what I was going to do. Now, because my biggest goal was not to miss milestones, and I'll get more into like maybe the details of my story in another video, and I have touched on it in other videos, and I am going to just make a video that, just about my story in general. So if you want to stay tuned for that, then subscribe so that when that video does come up, then you will be here to see it. But anyway, moving along, they were the main reason behind me starting the business. So I had to think about, if I'm trying to start something that will allow me to be there for milestones and will allow me to still make at least what I'm making what I was making at the time, then I needed to do something where a 4-month-old and a 3-year-old could still be with me. That may not be the case for everyone, but for me specifically, that was my goal. Now, if that's not the purpose behind you starting a business, or that isn't that high on the totem pole, or that high on the ladder for you as far as importance, then you'd have a lot more options than I did at that time. And because of that, their ages were a big factor in my decision on what business I was going to start. So the first thing I considered was their ages. The next thing that I considered was my time. So I thought about it. I'm at a 9 to 5, right? The time that I am spending with them, I'm not necessarily satisfied with. I felt like when I would go home, it was just, bath time, dinner, bed, right? And it was, it starts to become a routine. And then, you had your time on the weekend, but I just felt like that wasn't enough, especially for how hands-on I wanted to be with my children. So that was a big thing, was time. Now, once I was able to leave the job, then of course the time that my 9 to 5 was taking from them would then be replaced if I wanted it to be. Next, I took into consideration our financial needs as a family. My specific goal was to leave my 9 to 5, so I needed to be able to at least cover what I was making at my 9 to 5. Your goal may be to make extra money, so you have to figure out what exactly your goal is. for that business, maybe it's to provide a different lifestyle for your kids in addition to your 9 to 5. But whatever your specific goal is, you want to take that and dissect it and make sure that it fits what you want to do and what your specific goals are with this business. Why are you even starting it? What is the purpose? And once you know that, then you can reverse engineer from there. Nobody wants to just cold turkey leave a job and you have kids depending on you, and in my case a mortgage and car insurance. I didn't have a car note. Did I have a car note? I may have. I don't even remember if I had a car note at the time. Whatever. Nobody wants to leave a job and then have to stress financially, especially when you have 2 kids depending on you that you have to take care of, and then you have a mortgage and etc, etc, etc. We know all the other bills that come with life. And so I did create a plan, although to be fully transparent, that plan didn't work out the way that I had hoped because I was thrown a curveball. But I just rolled with the curveball and figured it out. And that was largely due to the fact that I refused to get another job, especially when my plan was my plan. And I felt like it would kind of motivate me even more to hurry up and get the ball rolling with the business. So it wasn't necessarily originally my plan. My plan was to do it in a financially responsible way. However, it didn't work out that way, but that part wasn't in my control. So yeah, I just ended up rolling with the punches. But if you have the option, and if you are able to, being financially stable for your kids so that they don't feel any difference between a 9 to 5 and having your business once you decide to go full-time. And if you decide to go full-time, then you want to make sure you're at least covering what you're currently making. Next, I took into consideration what skills I have. Now, as far as personally, now we both know as a single mom, you develop a whole lot of skills that you may not have even thought that you would have to develop, skills that maybe you don't even realize that you have. It could be like task building, running errands, multitasking. It can be literally feeding a baby and like your mind, you're doing one thing but your mind is working on a computer at the same time. You can have so many skills that you don't realize that you have. Impromptu skills. You know how babies or kids, toddlers, do just dangerous things in an instant, or almost fall or something, and you could be looking at this camera right now, but your baby might almost fall in your peripheral, and your reflex is like that. You know what I mean? So it's like things that you develop as a mom that you may not even realize that you have, or that you possess. And if you really thought about those things, it could sometimes help you in whatever it is that you decide to create to be your first business. The other thing to consider is professionally. So your professional skills. This is pretty straightforward. Depending on what you do for work, you can dissect those things. You can dissect exactly what it is that you do at work. I mean, like every detail, every little thing. I don't care if it's faxing a piece of paper. Whatever skills that you have, list them out. Figure out what they are. You may be able to utilize them once you figure out what you want to do, or you can take this into consideration to decide what that is. Just as a side note, link below, I have a free roadmap for single moms to turn clients into a predictable salary and give themselves the comfort of a 9 to 5 without giving up the control that a 9 to 5 takes from you. So if you're interested, that's linked below. Next, I took a look at what I'm naturally good at. This can be what people come to you for. So I'm talking like friends, family. It's just a natural thing that people come to you for. And And if you really just sit and think about those things, and it may not even be something that you've ever really thought about, usually it's second nature to you, but if you really think about it, a lot of times you can come up with something. And you can also think of things that you did in childhood that you were naturally good at. That could be dancing, that could be singing. It may not be a career for you, it may not be something you even thought about turning into a career or business, but something that came naturally to you, something that you enjoy doing, even if it just seemed like it was a hobby or if it was for fun. Sometimes you could turn those things into your first business, and it's something that you can do all day long because you love doing it. Next, I took into consideration how I would transition, because again, my goal was to leave my 9 to 5. So since my goal was to leave my 9 to 5, I needed to figure out a way to replace that income, how I would do it. And I also had to take into consideration how I would do both when my whole goal was to spend more time with my kids. And here I am starting a whole nother business, but planning on keeping this 9 to 5 until I get to my financial goal with the business, right? So I had to figure out how I would be able to do both and still keep my children at the forefront of my priorities. And I am almost done. It's been a long journey, but I'm almost done with Single Mom to Self-Made. So if you are interested in signing up for the wait list, it's a membership. And if you are interested in signing up for the wait list for when I do launch that, then that link will be below as well. And I also created a free Facebook group that you can request to be in. I have not let anyone in yet, but when I do let people in, your request will be there. And then we'll get things rolling with everything that I have going on. But thanks for watching. Love y'all.
Put in my 10,000 hours. Guess I got the wrong employer. Been slaving overtime. Now I'm tired of working for you. Put all these chains on me. Is this the American dream? Now is that American greed? Now you got my tank on E. Now I should say goodbye, get to waiting. But look at this inflation. Though it's hard to dream when you gotta pay rent. Can I turn these songs to a payment? Cause I'm sick of being patient. Lost count of all the days spent. Guess I caught another case of all these Mondays. Feeling Monday. Time to clock in. Broke again so quick. Options. One day I'ma have it on and poppin'. I swear I had a whole place jumping.